In regards to Newfoundland, we've got about 130,000 hectares. We own 100% again. 95% of our deals, we don't have any cash payments. We've managed to keep all our claims over the last year in good standing. We've got permitting in on about 35%, and we're waiting on drill permits.
Hello and welcome to the Assay TV, where today I am joined once again by Karim Rayani. Karim is the CEO and Director of Falcon Gold. Falcon Gold is a Canadian mineral exploration company focused on generating, acquiring and exploring opportunities across the Americas. They have a wide portfolio of projects, including their HSP South, nickel, PGE and copper project, and their Central Canada gold mine. It's great to have you back.
Hi, Katie. Always a pleasure.
Okay, so it's been a little while since we spoke. So just for our new viewers, can you give us a quick recap of Falcon and some of its key ambitions?
Okay, so Falcon trades on the TSX Venture Exchange. We have approximately 120 million shares out, strong management holdings. I hold about 10-12% of the issued outstanding. We have a very experienced team behind us with lots of experience with the majors, Rio Tinto, etc. And really what we're doing is we're primarily focused in Canada. And as of recently, we completed a spinout of Latamark Resources, which was really done to establish our holdings in jurisdictions outside Canada with a focus on Latin America. So we've gone after two groups of claims in one of the most prolific copper producing regions in the world. We've got Barrick, we've got BHP, we've got Antofagasta, which just took a 50% interest in Barrick's ground for $1 billion cash. And really with the copper and gold, that's coming out of Chile, that's really an area that I really want to focus on. I think there's tremendous opportunity outside Canada, but I didn't really want to dilute Falcon shareholders and focus on too many projects all at the same time.
Okay, excellent. And as you've just explained, Falcon has huge land packages, and it also recently extended its land holdings at HSP South by 70%. Can you just go into some detail as to the decision to increase it so significantly?
Yeah, so what we've done is we've got a group of claims that is tied on to gold medals, nickel discovery. They made a lot of headlines about a year ago. They put out some great numbers. Their stock is off a little bit. They've only drilled really 11 holes, but what we have is we have a continuation of their main zone that flows right into our ground. And they kind of shocked a lot of people by drilling into something that's called Anorthosite, which people didn't really believe was, had potential for nickel. So we've gone after a number of opportunities in Quebec, in the Timmins area, in Ontario, as well as Quebec, in different jurisdictions. And we're kind of following the same type of geological model. We've got high-grade nickel at surface. These are earlier stage projects. In most cases, we own 100%, no net smelter royalties, and this really allows us to be able to go into these projects, spend the money in the ground instead of payments to vendors. And so far we're having a lot of success identifying various systems that were overlooked by the previous operators.
So you just mentioned your expansion into the battery metal space with those projects in Timmins and Ontario, etc. What are the future plans there?
Phase one is essentially doing airborne surveys. This is because when we acquire ground, it's never just a small area. When we go in, we're very aggressive. We like to acquire as much as we can or as much as we can afford to acquire. Cherry pick what we want, and then we either drop or kind of sell off what we don't need. It's better to have everything out of the gate in case you find a system. Phase 2 is going to be getting crews on the ground to complete soils and follow up on our airborne magnetic data. That's all going to be happening over the next 90 days. Our main focus right now is in central Newfoundland. I think most of your viewers would be familiar with a company called Newfound Gold. They were trading at 50 cents a few years ago, climbed up to $10 plus. They're trading, based on the current market environment, 50% from their highs, like most of us, which really, I feel, this is really, a bottom. I think, the price of gold is only going to climb from here. It's always difficult to time a bottom, but I think, when deals are trading 50%, from where they were a couple of years ago, I mean, I don't see deals, coming off that much more. But in regards to Newfoundland, we've got about 130,000 hectares. We own 100% again. 95% of our deals, we don't have any cash payments. We've managed to keep all our claims over the last year in good standing. We've got permitting in on about 35%, and we're waiting on drill permits. We're also tied on to Benton Sokimon's first lithium discovery at Hope Brook. We've got 60,000 hectares in that camp. Directly to our northwest is Matador. They've got 1 million plus ounces identified. Directly below us is First Mining. They've got 1 million ounces plus. And we have this big system that goes right through. And we acquired this ground on staking costs. So if you really, run a spreadsheet as to what we pay for our assets, on a $10-12 million market cap company with 15-17 projects, I think you would be hard pressed to find a deal like ours on the board. So it's exciting times. There was a bit of a weather issue in the Hope Brook camp. There was forest fires. It delayed us by about 6, 7, 8 months. We're finally now able to get crews mobilized at Hope Brook.
Just to quickly circle back to the spin out, last time we spoke, you spun out your Esperanza Gold Project to the Latamark Resources subsidiary, which is now being completed. Can you just give us some more detail to that?
So we completed a shared dividend. This was a great way to reward the shareholders. For every 5 shares of Falcon, shareholders receive 1 share in Latamark. The structure is going to be very tight. We're quite excited to build our portfolio in Latamark. The Esperanza project has 100,000 ounces, non-43-101, but a Japanese agency, spent a considerable amount identifying, these ounces. It's at surface, epithermal, very high grade, and I really see this as a cash flow type of project where we can go and get projects that have been overpassed or overlooked by the majors because they're too small. But if you can custom mill, 100,000 ounces at a gold price of $2,000 with very low cost capex, and we have a mill in very close proximity, we can scoop it, we can truck it, send it down for refining, and it becomes a very profitable business. And that's really where Latamark is going to be going after these types of projects.
So there's obviously a lot here for investors to focus on. What are the key milestones you hope to achieve in the next few months? Very
good question. Right now, we're waiting on permitting in Hope Brook. We've got permitting in about 35% of our projects, which I mentioned. We're going to be drilling one of the first lithium pegmatites in central Newfoundland. If you look at Newfoundland, it's really early days. There's new discoveries, starting to sprout up. Eric Sprott, the billionaire investor, put in $200 million into Newfound Gold alone. He's also taken 10% of almost every Newfoundland play out there. a guy like him does not usually park his money into Newfoundland unless he's somewhat sure he's going to find something. We really recognized very early, we weren't the first to the party, but we weren't the last. But our business model was really to go after projects that, someone, because of overburden, certain things, if you look at the ground, there's no way you can really tell. We picked up very strategic ground tied onto multi-million ounce deposits, and we did it for staking costs, which really allows us to be able to do a lot of work in a very fast manner. When you also look at the battery metal expansion that we're doing in Quebec, Ontario, the majors now are finally starting to take notice of nickel. Anglo American just put in 24 million into Canada Nickel. They're very in close proximity to our project in Ontario. Same type of system. And if you look at the whole lithium craze, the price of lithium is continuing to move, but nickel is a key component in lithium ion batteries. I'm betting very big on nickel. It gets me very excited, even though it's not done what lithium's done. But in order to make lithium ion batteries for cars, you're going to need nickel. So, so if for investors, I think they can look forward to a nice steady news flow. Lots of work being done on multiple projects, not just one. If you look at our news flow compared to our peers, I think you'll see that we're very aggressive. So we got gold, we got battery metals, and now we got an expansion into Latin America. So, the next 3, 4 months, 5 months for Falcon is going to be very busy.
It certainly does sound like Falcon has a huge few months ahead. While this draws to a close our interview, and thank you so much for joining me today, and look forward to catching up soon.
Thank you, Katie, for your time.